How's it going, my G's? Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everyone's having a nice weekend so far. I woke up nice and fresh this morning on Saturday, so I thought what better thing to do than make some vital presets for you guys. And this is a free one that I'm going to drop down in the link below. You can go ahead and grab it. And all I ask in return is that you just absolutely annihilate that like button. If that's a thing you can do, can you annihilate a digital button with your mouse, or will you just destroy yourself? I'm not really sure. Also, leave a comment down below if you want. Let me know, are you a coffee drinker or a tea drinker? Because I'm actually both. I'm right now on a PG Tips with some brown sugar. Keeping me awake. Anyway. Let's get into the video. I've made a Neuro Acid Arp. Let's have a quick listen, and I hope that you will enjoy it. So, quite a nice acidic Neuro Arp, a little bit dark, and I'm going to run through how I created the patch, and there's a couple of cool little tips and things that I've tried that are quite new to me, at least. So let's start off with the voicing, quickly run over the effects, and then talk about the macros. So I decided to just use saw waves for the voicing, and I'm just pitching them all differently. And what's creating the ARP is each of them has their own separate LFO on the level, and each of those LFOs is at a different speed. So just a nice simple saw wave this is on just 1/8 notes. It's a little kind of fade at the start, so it's not super clicky, and then yeah, a nice little curve down. Then I've got another saw wave coming in, and this one is going to be a -5, so that it's kind of like well, +7 or -5, same kind of thing, but just an octave lower. And this one, I've got this on my LFO3 here, and it's at 1/8 dotted, so it's got a bit of a different rhythm. You get a bit of a galloping pattern going on. And then my third one is also another saw wave, and this is at 3, so we're kind of making a little bit of a minor chord. And this LFO is on 1/4 dotted as well. And I've got one more kind of sound source in there, which is the Bart, some kind of noise. And this is on LFO1, and this is at 1/2. So no, it's a half bar speed. So a bit of a natural kind of noise in there as well. And that's essentially what makes up the actual voicing. So next, let's move on to the filtering and the effects. So what I've done is I've added a low pass to everything except for the sampled kind of noise. And the sampled noise has a high pass, so quite easy to remember. And we just sort of randomize the cutoff so it moves always a little bit. And on the filter 1, the low pass, I've applied this to a longer LFO, so it's going to go up and down over time, so it's going to filter everything nice and smoothly. So let's have a listen to that. So it's a little bit more interesting how it moves over time as well, with, you know, changing the brightness and the sound. And yeah, if I jump over to the effects then, what I've done is I've added another filter here that's going to come in later on the macros. But the chorus is very important. This adds a really nice stereo image to the sound, and I've turned the depth down really low. It's almost at 7%. Blended the delays how I like them to sound, and then I've added in the mix a little bit, 30%. And the next thing I've done is I've added a compressor, and I've just shaped the attack and release very slightly. Gives a bit of extra push and a bit of brightness. Then we're distorting everything very slightly with a soft clipping. Very nice so far. A little bit of reverb to polish it off. Get that nice stadium sound. And the EQ, again, just done a little bit of a mid-range boost, around 350 here. Just finding a nice little sweet spot so I can add a bit of mid-range magic. So it's already sounding pretty nice, but now let's go on to the final part of the sound, which is the macro effects. So I've got a few macro effects on this patch, and I hope you will download it below and enjoy it, and feel free to use it in your own productions as well. And it's actually the first one is the saw. So it starts off sort of turned on, and if I turn it back, I basically bring these low pass effects to the left. When I turn it back, it essentially becomes a bit more like a sine wave. And it's almost giving it this extra kind of low passed sort of sound to it. So that's really nice if you were sort of, wanted to soften the patch a little bit. And then I've got this this clean mode turned on. And if I turn the clean mode off, it's going to introduce all of the FM. So I've set up some FMs between the saw waves to make things a little bit dirtier. So I actually really like it like that, and it's got a really nice amount of texture. And I've basically FM'd the sample into the first one, and then I've FM'd that into the second one to create a nice kind of blending of textures and make things a bit more gritty. Playing that in our mix. These really nice textures coming in from the FM. And then I've got this extra comb filter, which is what I was, referring to over here. Just found a nice balance for the comb filter where it kind of boosts the resonances at this lower level here. So if we sort of listen to when that comes on. Just get these extra harmonics which you could sort of choose whether or not you like in that particular moment. And finally, I've got my stereo mode. And all I've done here is on the LFOs, which are all responding to the oscillators and how each one is doing its own pattern and its own pitch. I've also adjusted the stereo knob on each one. So it's almost like I'm panning them a little bit, but it's not actually panning to the right or the left. It's delaying the whole stereo left and right differently. It's kind of like the Haas effect, I suppose. But I've just changed the amounts on each particular oscillator, and also on the kind of noise. And then what I've done is I've just basically used the stereo macro to increase the already existing stereo imagery that I created, so you can just get an even wider overall sound, and things sort of delay a little bit further to the side, so you get like an extra kind of scattered sound when I turn this up. And that's pretty much the patch, so let's just have a final word before we say goodbye. So everything I sort of designed to sort of go along with the drums here, and the MIDI notes, I've just literally done a very simple to follow pattern. So it increases tension, and then right at the end it drops down a semitone below the root note, which is at my D. And then I've just slapped on a bit of extra chroma reverb to just kind of finish off the sound and make it sound even larger. So you could really begin to automate all of these macros to keep the arpeggiator more interesting over time. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that tutorial today, and wish you a lovely rest of your weekend. Peace!